to the Casual Birder podcast. I'm Suzy Buttress. As a casual birder, I take pleasure in watching the wild birds around me, wherever I am. In my show, I share the joy of birding. I tell you about the birds I've seen, speak with experts and enthusiasts, go on bird outings, and I share stories from birders around the world. Last episode, I spoke about the changes in birdsong I'd noticed with the arrival of springtime, and I told you about some of the bird characters that visit my garden. Do take a listen. My birthday was at the beginning of April, and, as sometimes happens, it coincided with Easter. That gave us the opportunity to take a long weekend in the Forest of Dean. We chose that area because we had a reasonable chance of seeing hawfinch and goshawk, and summer migrants, pied flycatcher and common redstart. We were both really excited about having 4 full days of birding. On the Friday, the day before my birthday, I had arranged to meet up with Anneke, one of the show's Facebook group regulars. I had been birding with Anneke in previous years and looked forward to catching up with her. We decided to spend the day at RSPB Nagshead. I really like that reserve. Our first visit was back in 2018, where we did a dawn chorus walk with one of the wardens there, and we've managed to visit a couple of times since. It's a large reserve set within the Forest of Dean, an ancient oak woodland in Gloucestershire known for its population of wild boar. There are opportunities for long walks through the woodland. You can sit by the small pond and have a picnic lunch, or watch the birds from 2 heights. There's a small visitor centre which has toilets, fortunately, but do check the opening times on the website. And you can find very friendly volunteers at the visitor centre. And I must give a special shout out to Jane and Steve, who gave us lots of tips about the birds we might see. And Steve shared some amazing tales, including one where a wheatear landed on his head. This episode brings you the recordings we made as we wandered around the reserve. We're here at RSPB... Oh, hold on.
No, it's all right, because I was hearing something that sounded a bit Goldcrest-like, so I thought I'd... Yes, Firecrest.
Right.
It's coming up on Merlin's.
Right. And it had on Anneke's as well.
It then as well.
Well, no, we'll definitely see it. We'll see it, because it's been flying around. So
It's coming up with siskin as well.
Oh.
You can see some flickering. Hold on. Got it? It's out.
Oh, yes. There we go now.
Come down a bit lower now.
Yeah.
There it goes. It's out there on the open bare branch.
Oh, yes. And it caught really bright orange then.
Did you? Just as it was out on there, it was
Just
right
as it flew.
right behind a branch for me.
Okay, I can count it. Oh, that was lovely. I mean, it wasn't that I didn't trust you guys.
No, you haven't. No, absolutely. Seeing it for yourself is so...
It's different,
yes.
isn't it?
So, we're here at RSPB Nagshead. It's the 7th of April. It's an absolutely beautiful day. Blue sky with not a cloud... All right, one cloud in sight. And there's been so much bird song, and we're about 50 yards from the car park, and we've been here probably about an hour. And that's all we've made it because there's just been so much to see. I'm here with my husband John and Anneke from the Facebook group, who's extremely happy because she's just seen a firecrest.
Finally, because it only took me half an hour after you guys had actually seen it already. It just flits around so much. It's so busy. And I just couldn't get the binoculars on it fast enough to be able to really see an eye stripe or the orange crest. But it is interesting to see it. When you do see it, it does look quite different to the gold crests that we had just been watching around the corner, gathering so much moss for this cosy nest that they're building. And what it also gave us a chance to do here, standing for such a long time because I couldn't see it, was to hear the firecrest's song. Such a high-pitched sound. Really lovely to have had that kind of Merlin kind of backing us up, hearing it, and then being able to identify it and find it in the same location as the sound was coming from. So that was kind of using all of our tools all together. It was really nice.
Yeah, it was really lovely to see. John spotted it first, but then it was just, every time we saw it, we'd just see like the glimpse of the belly or just
fast.
the edge of it flying off
fast,
somewhere.
yeah.
And yeah, without seeing the distinctive eye stripe or the bronze neck area or as you said, the really orange crown. But I saw it with a big mouthful of nesting material, and you mentioned earlier about seeing the goldcrest collecting moss from the trees, and I'd never seen that before, and that was so lovely to see.
So nice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And John even spotted them taking some spider's webs, which is, to even be able to handle that as material is quite fascinating.
Yeah, I guess that sticks everything together.
Yeah. But also nice to think that the firecrest might be nest building. It's not just a visitor coming through, it's actually a resident, and that's or a visitor maybe for the summer, but actually staying here for the season.
Yeah, absolutely. We've also seen the tree creepers. We saw the tree creepers.
The tree creepers also bringing nest material to the bark, and a sort of bark peeling away from main stem, kind of curling, and they'd obviously found this gorgeous little spot there that was really well hidden. And we keep hearing this black cap that we haven't spotted yet.
Yeah, it sounds quite close.
It sounds very close now, doesn't it? Chiff-chaff. John spotted the bullfinches, a pair as well. What else have we seen? Nuthatches.
Oh, the woodpecker taking...
the great spotted, yeah.
Yeah, the great spotted woodpecker, which was, at first, I thought it was just looking for food, but then it seemed to be taking beakfuls of soft wood. And Anneke, you were suggesting that...
Yeah, well, you saw it flying away with some of that, and we were kind of musing on whether or not that might be some nesting material to line their hole with. Yeah.
But it seems like all the birds, they're all in total nest building mode. Just breaking in here to say, I reviewed the videos I was taking of the woodpecker afterwards, and when I slowed it down, I could see that the woodpecker was actually taking wood and dropping it, but to the naked eye, it looked like it was taking wood and flying away with it.
If only we can see a pied flycatcher or a hawfinch or
that would be good.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
That blackcap sounds so
black
close.
Cap is teasing you.
Oh, I got my first chiff-chaff of the year, thanks to Anneke pointing it out, and singing. And yes, the bullfinches were my first of year as well. So we're going to head off to the woodland hide that we went to last year, where we saw the hawfinches. I'm not sure we'll be quite so lucky this year, but it's worth having a look. And last year we also saw a pied flycatcher checking out the nest boxes. We think it's a little bit too soon for pied flycatchers this year. We were 3 days later last year, but it depends on, prevailing winds and what sort of weather we've had. And the last week has been pretty miserable. Although there has been an influx of alpine swifts to the country from the strong southerly winds that have been flying in. Oh, and just now I heard a tawny owl. It's daylight, and I thought I heard one just sort of doing a woo. And I said to John, "Oh, is that a tawny owl?" And he said...
I said, "I think that's a steam train." I was quite wrong. I'm sorry. So John said it was a steam train, which I took at face value because I sometimes do get these things muddled up. And then almost immediately it woo-wooed more than a steam train would, and we realised it really was a tawny owl. So that was an interesting sound to get. Right, we'll head off to the hide and see what else we can find. It's me again. Over the weekend we heard the steam train lots and lots of times, but that time when it woo-wooed, we're all certain that was a tawny owl. So, the end of a wonderful day at Nagshead. Still lots of blue sky around. We've not done much apart from wander around and sit in hides, but it's quite tiring.
Yeah, we can't stop yawning now. It's the end of the day. Yeah, what a beautiful day. I really didn't think it was going to turn out this nice, and actually we've had such beautiful weather. So much birdsong, and actually to have spent the whole day here and see the fluctuations in the birdsong and the different species singing at different times, it's been really nice.
Yeah, we really noticed that, didn't we, about how at lunchtime it all just faded off, and then started to come back about 2:00 and it's carried on.
Yeah, picked up right up again after lunch. It was really nice. Didn't hear any flycatchers, but luckily we had John. We're not going to tell him too much because his head will swell.
He's gone walking off down the lane.
But without him we wouldn't have seen the firecrests or the pied flycatchers, and saw at least 2. We did think maybe there were 3, but definitely 2 males flitting about, eating, not singing yet, but
No.
but definitely feeding up after their long journey.
Yeah, and they're such beautiful birds. It's I tend to think of them as just being black and white, but definitely on those ones, I was able to see that sort of pinky peachy flush on them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really striking birds, really striking. Didn't see any females, but that may have been because we were distracted by the beautiful males. But yeah, no, they really stunning little bird, and that very typical flycatcher movement of flying in and out of the branches, very rapid, circle back. You can see how they could catch the flies because they were very fast.
And luckily, because today's been quite warm, hopefully there was quite a lot of insects around for them. But it has been a really nice day, and really makes you aware of the sort of time of year because of all the breeding and nesting activity we've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. So much nesting material being gathered up, and we just watched a couple of robins as well that were displaying to each other, and just behaviours you wouldn't necessarily see all year round.
Oh, and we saw those sort of snuffle holes in the mud where the boar had been.
The boar do churn everything up. You found a very good spot where you could almost see the snout shape into the ground, and some trotter prints. It was brilliant. Yeah.
But I guess time to go home. I mean, there's still a lot of daylight left, and later on today, John and I are hoping to go and look for woodcock that should be displaying and making their roding behaviour, where they sound like little frogs. They sort of peep and then... Oh, it's you! Because I was holding this way, I couldn't pick it up, and it sounds, because I've got the headphones in, it sounded like it was behind me.
I didn't think I was that good a mimic.
Woodcock.
No, that was just me.
But that was really odd, because I had the mic facing not at you, and I've got the headphones in. I couldn't pick up where the noise was coming from, and I was convinced it was behind me. I thought John had crept up behind me and he was making the noise. But yeah, so it's the walk back to the car park now. I think it'll be less time going back to the car park, just because although there's still song around, I don't think there's quite so much bird activity. The sun's going down. Well, it is going down. I mean, there's still plenty of light, but I think as soon as the shadow starts coming on the tree, it just cools everything down quite a bit, doesn't it?
And a nice little treat today was to see those little bats sleeping.
Yeah, oh, yes.
So we found 2 pipistrelles hanging inside one of the hides, sleeping.
And that was you that found those?
That was really quite exciting, actually. They looked like a piece of wood, really, didn't they? Quite a bonus. I've never been that close to a pipistrelle sleeping. I had one encounter with a little pipistrelle as a kid that had flown into the barn door.
Oh.
But that one wasn't very well. So this was a much nicer sighting.
Absolutely. No, but absolutely fascinating to see them just there. And I would never have even spotted them if you hadn't pointed them out.
And it was only really because they had the sign up, because there was a very funny little ledge, I don't know if you saw it, but just above the door, like a triangular piece of dowling that was above the doorway. And apparently they used to hang there.
Oh.
But it was not a pipistrelle that hung there. And it had a different hanging behaviour, whereas apparently the pipistrelles really clamp onto the wood and sit really close to the wall, I guess. So they'd had signs up saying, don't disturb the bats, but they were different bats.
Right.
I didn't know that. It made me look.
Yeah.
And that's...
No, absolutely. Yeah. And also, I mean, that goes back to what you were saying earlier about don't assume. So we could have just walked in there thinking, wooden hide. We'll just, assume there's nothing there. But you found that. And, you were telling me earlier about some brambling that you saw in a mixed flock full of chaffinches. Yeah. And you could have just
walked
assumed.
on by and assumed, but I didn't. And, tick that box.
Oh, and you have had a good weekend, haven't you? Because yesterday...
Oh, yeah, yesterday was a bit of a day, really. I thought the willow warbler was quite a nice addition to the list. but suddenly an osprey flew west over my head. It was a wonderful moment and so unexpected. And we had just been looking at buzzards and a kite, and I just knew immediately it was something entirely different, but really big. Really big. It was wonderful.
To actually look up at that point, and obviously you were looking at the other birds of prey, but who would know that an osprey would fly
Absolutely.
past?
And I have seen ospreys before, but not frequently enough to be able to really pick them out like you do the birds that are common around you. So you'd almost spot the difference before you spot what you know. It was a very exciting day yesterday.
Well, and thank you for joining us today, because it's been lovely spending time with you.
Such a good day.
We had some pre-birthday cupcakes that I brought along, and thank you very much for the chocolate biscuits that you brought as well. Had a lovely little picnic in the sun, and and now it's time to say goodbye until next time.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for spending time with us today. We've really appreciated it.
It's been a really, really good day. Thank you.
Thank you. It was so lovely seeing Anneke again. She really is great company, and it was such a lovely day with the birds singing, feeling the warmth of the sun. It couldn't have been any better. I put together a little video of the day showing some of the birds that we saw. I'll put it up on YouTube and put the link in the episode notes. You know how much I love hearing about your sightings. Jeff, in Serbia, told us that he took his dog Lara for a short walk through the woods, and as well as the usual dusk chorus, including chaffinch, song thrush, blackbird, blackcap, robin, pheasant and nightingale, and he's now got 3 of those in residence, he said he was chuffed to hear a Eurasian scops owl, a first of the year, and he sent the recording. He said you can hear its monotonous piping repeated every 3 seconds over the nightingales. Take a listen. Isn't that fabulous? I would never have known that that was an owl if I'd heard that call. In fact, I'm not even sure I would have known it was a bird. I probably would have thought it was someone's alarm going off. Thanks so much for sending that in, Jeff. Bird Club member Marylee from North Vancouver told us about a wonderful experience she recently had with a ruby-crowned kinglet that visited her yard. She said, "The little creature is so beautiful, and it was oblivious to me and so busy flitting here and there, on the ground, up a little ways into the foliage. It was a truly magical moment, and the culmination or combination of all my avian nature activities, and a wonderful example of neighbourhood nature. You don't have to travel far to be a part of it all, just 3 steps away." I've included the link to her YouTube video in the episode notes. Take a look. Last episode, I announced the launch of the Casual Birder Bird Club, a monthly virtual get-together to share our sightings and ask any birding questions you might have. And some months we'll also have a guest speaker. Well, April's guest was Mike Drew, a licensed bird ringer. He gave a wonderful presentation about his experiences gathering data on various songbirds. Everyone enjoyed his talk, and there were lots of questions afterwards that Mike kindly stayed to answer. The video of his presentation, once edited, will be placed on the Casual Birder Podcast YouTube channel for you all to enjoy. I'll let you know when it's there. If you'd like to become a Bird Club member, follow the link in the episode notes, and I'll keep you informed about upcoming club sessions. I hope to see you there. My thanks to Randy Braun for designing the artwork for the show. The theme music is Short Sleeve Shirt by the Drones. Thanks to them for letting me use it. Check out their website at dronesmusic.net. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you'll join me again for another episode of the Casual Birder Podcast.